I started this conversation last week about a real estate market in the midst of global instability, market fatigue, and never ending political noise. Our world, including this volatile bond market, this inventory crisis, changing guidelines, bumpy escrows held together by duct tape, with money pinched buyers and sellers under extreme stress, our world has suddenly entered the chat at a national level as something grounding. It's crazy, but true. Why housing and why now? President Trump gave a very eloquent speech at NATO this week, and I want to quote a direct line from it. The United States will not become a nation of renters. Now, regardless of your political alignment, this line resonated with many of us because it speaks to security, it speaks to control, it speaks to permanence. I'm not sure if he did this on purpose, but he reframed housing, not as an investment, but as a form of belonging. He tied housing to the idea of a stable middle class and emphasized families not having to compete with evil Wall Street for homes. This landed because people are feeling like the system is designed to work against them. So again, I'm not sure if he did this on purpose, but as somebody with a psychology background, I watched him reframe this problem as one of fairness, not anyone's personal failure. It's important to note that institutional investors only own 3% of the current housing stock in America, and restricting them from purchasing more won't magically create inventory. In some markets, investors actually add inventory by increasing rental supply when they purchase and improve properties. We have to remember, all housing benefits all housing. But I'm beginning to understand how the world works at the ripe age of 38. And it's never just about math, is it? It's about who the system appears to serve. So this reframe was a powerful one. The line that we don't really want to focus on but stood out nonetheless, he said, I could crush the housing market if I wanted to, but I won't because it would hurt homeowners. This was quite a candid admission even for him. It illustrates for us in very fair, very plain language, the tension no administration can escape. Affordability versus equity. I've talked about this here on the weekly vlog, that we as homeowners are often hypocrites because we talk a big game about wanting future generations, wanting our children to be able to afford the American dream. But when the conversation becomes real, when it hits too close, the conversation about density, we stop it dead in its tracks at city council meetings. We put signs in our yards not to develop golf courses because it would bring down our home value. Trump confirmed what we all know deep down. There is no political promise that's actually going to pan out to dramatically lower home prices. For tens of millions of households, their home isn't just shelter. It's their largest asset. It might be their retirement plan. It's 100% their safety net. Ultimately, it's proof that their hard work worked. A meaningful drop in home values would make housing affordable, sure, for entry-level buyers, but it would erase trillions in household wealth in America. It would spook financial markets. It would weaken consumer confidence, and it would definitely anger a massive voting bloc overnight. So for any buyer out there waiting for the 2026 home price dip, I need to remind you, it's an election year. You're waiting for political leaders to act against their own self-interest. Not something they tend to do very often, because they don't win elections overnight by eroding homeowners' wealth. Activity continues to pick up on the news, though. Nothing happened that actually moved the needle in terms of affordability, but buyers everywhere have woken up. They feel validated. They feel less foolish for wanting to try to buy a home. Sellers feel that and are more open to starting conversations with their realtor friends about listing their homes. Trump normalized Americans wanting to spend hours and dollars on Zillow or Redfin or Realtor.com or whatever your search engine of choice is. The critics are concerned, though. More activity, more demand without more inventory, well, that leads to pricing pressure. It's just simple supply and demand economics. The critics want solutions at the local level regarding zoning. At the national level, they say the conversation needs to be about labor shortages and material costs. Trump didn't mention those in his speech, but he talked about using 401ks for down payments. While not a silver bullet and also not a new concept, these were signals that housing is becoming a priority. Instead of debating whether his suggestions will actually work, I want to tell you, whether you're a realtor, whether you're a homeowner, whether you're a home hopeful, that if President Trump is paying attention to housing, you should be too.